So we were talking about tax-free savings accounts, and as we discussed, there's really hard to imagine anything bad about them. If I put money inside them and I don't pay taxes on what I earn or what I take out later, that's a good thing. And certainly it's hard to imagine that being a bad thing. So really, when you consider tax-free savings accounts, it's all about how do I use them within the context of my RSPs and my RRIFs and my non-registered accounts. And by use them, I mean a big decision is always what should I put in my tax-free savings account. And again, I want to stress that this is different for everybody because we all have a different tax situation, both currently and in the future. And we all have different size RSPs and different size non-registered accounts. So even if we all have the same size tax-free savings account, because the rules have always been specific about what I could put in, and they've recently increased to now $10,000 a year each and every year. And certainly, I think that's one of the things that we'll see happen is that if people haven't been able to afford to put money in their tax-free savings accounts above their RSP, they come into a big lump sum of money, an inheritance, a sale of their house or whatever. A good portion of that lump sum will be used to take advantage of the catch-up rules on tax-free savings accounts. When we're building portfolios, I think that's the key issue around tax-free savings accounts. It's about taxes. It's about taxes. So if I want to save on taxes, what should be inside my tax-free savings account? If I have a spectrum of investments that are in my non-registered account, my RSP or my RRIF, and in my tax-free savings account, what should go in my tax-free savings account? Well, I don't like to think in terms of specific products. I like to think in terms of what should be in my tax-free savings account is what is going to produce the highest after-tax return for me, okay? Or, sorry, the highest taxable income for me. And because my goal is to reduce my, to the lowest possible, my after-tax burden. So what am I going to put in there? I'm going to put in what I believe is going to give me the highest taxable item. And a good example of that is if I've got a bond that's producing 5% yield, which may be unheard of today in most bonds, but it certainly is in high yield bonds, then I know it's all going to be taxable. So I've got kind of a benchmark that I know if I put this item in there, I'm going to be saving that much taxes. Well, you compare that to putting an equity in your tax-free savings account. Well, maybe equities may not need to go in there. I could well have a Canadian equity that is producing dividends, giving me a dividend tax credit, that then the growth in it is only going to be half taxed because I'm only going to taxable on half my capital gains. And all those components may add up to only, or a level of taxes that is below a non-equity item that isn't going to produce me the same total return, but it's going to give me a lower taxable return. And really, if I'm going to use all these plans, I want to keep it in the context of my lifetime tax bill should be as low as possible. And one of the things that helps me do that is make sure that the things I would pay the most tax on are the things that I pay no tax on in future. And that's really where we see the questions coming up about tax-free savings account is what should I put inside them? And again, I want to stress that I can't give that answer to you as a blanket answer. All I can tell you is that you need to evaluate it in context of what set of investments you have and how do you move your investments around to take advantage of the tax-free savings account. And what you're looking for is, of all the items you own, which one is producing you the highest taxable amount, either now or in the future. Because again, if I put in something there, I expect it to grow 20% a year for many years, it would still be pretty good inside a tax-free savings account, even if it's giving me no savings today, because it wouldn't be taxed until I sell it. But when I sell it, I would have a tremendous tax bill if it wasn't inside my tax-free savings account. So again, it's about planning for the future and realizing that it's not all about today's taxes. It's about the taxes throughout the rest of my life, and how do I lower those? And that's different for everybody, and everybody needs to do some planning to determine what their tax situation is, what investment set they have, what their needs are, and then you can take maximum value of that offering from a tax savings account.